Big Time Auto Racing Podcast. I'm Dylan Wilson here, joined by my co-host Brandon Pierce and a special guest, Landon Huffman. Big round of applause. Landon Huffman is in the airwaves tonight. We have a lot of history. The three of us in the podcast world and living life in general, I feel like we're pretty familiar with each other. So, and I don't really feel like we're recording a podcast right now, to be completely honest with everyone. So I don't know where this episode's going to go. But nonetheless, before we get into this episode, we got to thank our sponsors, GeoCut Laser and Powder at geocutfabrication.com. You can order on-demand laser cut parts online with a few clicks of the mouse, fast lead times with no minimum orders. Let's go ahead and get right into the episode. This past weekend, y'all raced at New River. Now, New River is a crazy little racetrack. Sometimes there's some surprise leaders, surprise winners, we never know. This past weekend, you put her in a win, Landon.
Oh, yeah. Dominated the race.
Dominated the son of a bitch. Got wrecked by Earnhardt. We're going to get all into that. You guys came to the right place. Brandon, how you feel about your weekend? I mean, it wasn't what you wanted, but in a condensed jar.
The race was
what's the word of the day for the weekend for you?
Man, that's tough because the race was just shitty.
Okay,
but the nightlife
shitty
and
works.
Interaction with fellow competitors was fun. So I still had a good time.
Early
race,
season blues, man, it happens.
But yeah.
Well, it was an exciting race. Bobby McCarty came home with the win. Minnie Tyrell really looked like he was about to do something. And he's off to a really hot start, by the way. You're looking at is he the points leader now or what? Because what's the three finishes he's rattled off so far this year?
7th, 5th, and 2nd.
Yeah, so Minnie Tyrell second, and then Connor Hall rounded out the top three with Trayton, Lapsevich, and Carson Quaffle in the top five. So pretty stacked top five. I mean, a lot of times you're going to see Deek up in the top five at New River. So that was, we'll get into a lot of that. I know, it's really hard to gauge off of the results at New River based on how the race went, because a lot of times, like you see here, Huffman, the son of a bitch, led 33 laps, finished 24th. He must have had mechanical failures or something. So that's why this podcast here, we're going to explain the nitty gritty of the decision to absolutely send it and see what these ST2 tires could do, because you don't know. We ain't ran there yet. What if they would have held up? Landon might have looked like a genius. So, we'll get into all that. Regardless, it was a pretty exciting. Oh shit, I forgot. Before we get into y'all's race recaps from this past weekend, I mean, we got to do the ratings, right? That's what everybody's here for. We got to hear about the New River track ratings. I got to do it last year. They was in the 7s. Pretty good score last year. I don't know if it's going to change this year or not. I didn't get to go, but we got two experts here, and we always start this scale off with fun factor. Fun factor. Brandon, how fun was it to race? Could you pass? Was there a lot of strategy involved? I mean, obviously this one is usually pretty high in this category, but how'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, regardless of how my race went, I mean, I still think it's a fun racetrack. We don't go anywhere like it. It's completely its own animal, and you could pass. I think the strategies, kind of like we'll get into with Landon, was either go or maybe hang out a little bit. But I think regardless, we kind of all felt like at least you'd be able to punish this tire a little more than the 45, and I think that still stood to be true. So, like I said, even though our race didn't go that great, I still had fun. It's still a worn-out racetrack, but, I think you got to drive it every lap. So I give it an 8 because, like I said, I do like the way it's shaped and the banking that's involved with it. It's kind of cool to come off and be feeling like you're going up a roller coaster, and then I feel like you change elevation like 5 different times taking a lap around there.
It is a crazy racetrack. So 8 for Brandon, starting off hot here. Landon, fun factor. This is your first ever big time auto racing rating, so this is a big moment. 1 to 10. Yeah. How fun was it to race?
I feel like for me, if I'm struggling at a racetrack, it is not fun. Yeah. I don't give a damn where it is. I don't care if it's Hickory. Like, I love Hickory to death, If I go there and I'm struggling that weekend, I can't stand it. And both times I've been to New River, I have been terrible, terrible, terrible. So outside of dominating the race, but
Yeah, I mean,
I would say, yeah, I
about to
mean the
say, what
stats,
are you talking about?
yeah, well, the stats they show a different story. But
Yeah.
I would say if I had fun or not, if that's what I'm judging it off
Well,
of, I want
it's
to know
fun.
where
It's if you had fun. Also, could you pass? Was there a lot of strategy involved? That's
it
kind of
is
all the.
it's a cool track. I will say that it is a very cool track, but I have not ran well there or finished well there, I guess. So I'll give it like a 6.5 out of 10
There's
because
no
I do
points.
think that,
Pick one. 6 or
oh
7.
shit, six,
Okay.
six,
Okay.
six.
6. So 8 and 6. Not bad. You know, honestly, I thought you were gonna be a little more harsh on it.
I was thinking he was gonna say about a 4.
So this is where this track could start skyrocketing here. So second category, we got track atmosphere. So this one is fan turnout, event promotions, track side, all that good stuff. How was that this weekend? I'll let you guys kind of tap into that experience because I know it was a big one. There's a ton of fans there with Junior coming and all. So let's hear it all. I'm sure people want to know.
I don't know about Landon, but I could barely make it to the autograph table for where they were having us.
Right.
Yeah, there was
I mean,
a ton
it
of
was
people.
yeah, it was just
I would say
insane.
there was more people there than any. I would argue there was probably more people there than the Florence 400 when Junior ran.
I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, and there was a ton of people there in 2022, the first one he ran. Compared to last year, which is kind of crazy. Last year, I felt like New River was one of the worst fan turnouts that we had. It was towards the end of the year.
Yeah,
we didn't have a lot of cars. Sure. The event just kind of sucked in general last year, I felt like. But, I mean, they completely 180'd it. This year it was – now, the Dale Jr. factor definitely helps. But I do think that they did a good job promoting the event in general. I mean, we had a lot of not just our merchandise stand, but there was multiple merchandise vendors out there in the Fan Fest area. They had like 4 or 5 food trucks, and like the whole fan area in general was better. And then one thing we did this week that hopefully we continue to do, I like it better, is our autograph sessions are not on the racetrack. They line us all up on at a table.
Oh, nice.
And so the fans actually interact with every driver.
Yeah.
Which to me is a little bit better than the cluster on the racetrack. But I know that some people like to get down there to look at the cars too.
Yeah. I know. I agree. I didn't realize they were is that like the thing they're going to do all year?
I've been told that we should at least be doing it that way this week. Which didn't you guys do it for the Orange Crush race, Landon, behind the grandstands at a table?
It was the same deal. Yeah, same deal. But I think they probably did it for Dale because think about all those people coming onto the front stretch trying to get to Dale Jr.
Yeah.
It would have been a freaking wreck. At least they knew if they got in line they were gonna get Dale's autograph.
Yeah.
But even this weekend, like we had a huge turnout for the Orange Crush race. But you had Jevin Ward and Big Jeremy Mayfield in there. So.
Well, yeah, so fan turnout was obviously a roaring success with over 15,000 people for sure, and probably more than that because they started turning people away, I think, at some point had to close the gate and then stop selling tickets. So it eventually was kind of a free-for-all, which is awesome. And I know that people are going to say, like, yeah, that's because Dale's there. Well, that's fine because some of those people that came just to get Dale's autograph or see Dale or whatever for the first time may have fell in love with a short track racer in the process. So,
and left mad at Landon Huffman.
Yeah, or thought that Landon Huffman just gave up. Guy just quit and went to 24th. He was leading and he just went to the back. I don't know what happened.
But the fans were cussing me.
Yeah, it's all right. And then also, you reckon like hell with Dale. That didn't help. But what if it could have been worse? I mean, imagine the first guy that actually does, tote his shit in a late model, because there's not many guys that would do that, I don't think. But there's a couple out there that I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah, I could name a few.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And
we race against them every week.
and maybe it's just I don't think they see what car it is, to be honest with you. Some people are just like that. But anyways, track atmosphere. So besides the great fan turnout, how was the 1 to 10 track atmosphere? What y'all got?
Lando, I'll let you go, bud.
9.
Solid.
That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Two
say. I mean,
solid
because like
nines.
I would say, as long as I've been racing on the tour, and I would say, I mean, because I think Landon used a good comparison with the South Carolina 400. That's obviously not a tour race, but
Yeah.
Dale was in that. It may, taking out Wilkesboro the first year, be the most fan attended race I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
I mean, it was absolutely stacked. And then they said they only gave 1,000 spectator pit passes. That's bullshit. There was more than
There's definitely
1,000 of them in
more than
there.
that.
Oh yeah. But it was just really cool. So I gave it a 9 as well. I mean, it was kudos to Anthony Goodyear and his entire staff. They obviously, with the rain out, I think that gave them a little extra time to maybe even do it bigger than they were maybe initially going to. And
Worked out great for the rain. Really worked out great for them. That's for sure.
Yeah,
That's
so,
one of the greatest rainouts in human civilization. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, 2 solid 9s there on track atmosphere. Let's fire on through facilities. Lighting, infrastructure, eye appeal, infield elbow room, spotter stand, all that kind of goes into account here. So what's your facilities rating here, BP?
So I would say everything there is really good, except, and I didn't hear my spotter complain about it. I'm not sure if Landon's did. Like, just looking at it from the infield, the spotter stand is pretty small. Now it doesn't seem to like be like Kinley or anything where the guys are up there like swaying for their lives, but I mean, everything there, walls are painted, infield's clean. Bathroom ain't nothing to ride home about, but we'll get to that. But I mean, outside of that, everything else is nice. So I'll give them an 8 on everything around it. I mean, like I said, they keep it clean. Everything looks nice. I mean, it's definitely in the upper realm of most places we go to, I would say.
Yeah, it's a nice racetrack. I mean, I think when the Goodyears came in, the place wasn't in the greatest shape. So it's been like a couple of years of working to get it back in the shape that it is in. But I feel like when you pull into that place, you're like, man, this is a pretty cool joint, because the banking is, the way they have the trackside deal, they have a lot of track. That's one good thing they do have, trackside parking. It's all the way around the track too. But when you pull up to it, it's like up a hill to the edge of it, kind of like reminiscent of Kingsport, sort of, but like not as elevated, I guess. But you're kind of looking down into the track, so I thought that was pretty cool. And then
it looks big too when you get there. Like, I felt like when I first
it
got
does
there
look
the first
big.
time,
It gives kind of
damn. Where the hell are we at?
Yeah,
I don't know where.
It gives like Myrtle Beach. It gives Myrtle Beach
Yeah,
vibes,
that's what I
like as
thought.
far as pulling in the infield, like where it all of a sudden looks double.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like if that place was 2 hours closer to the Mooresville area, it would be a much more successful racetrack. Which, I heard Goodyear talking while we were on our way out. He said somebody said that to him, and he was like, "Well, we just got to make it worth coming out here then." And I thought that was like pretty interesting to hear from a promoter, because right now I feel like there's not very many promoters that are going above and beyond to get people to come to their racetrack, especially when the drive may be a little bit farther. So it'll be interesting to see what he does to try to help boost the weekly programs.
Maybe a short season, very high purse deal or something, or I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and the type of racing is just, I think that kind of hurts it too. Like, I know Myrtle Beach was like that and it didn't seem to hurt it, but man, the racing, any long race is just tough to watch for the fans, I feel like, unless you have somebody that just blazes the trail.
No doubt. I mean, for sure.
Like, I feel like what Landon's saying, like, let's say that if it was closer and you did like twin 50s or something, it'd probably put on it'd be some awesome racing.
Yeah,
or twin 40s. If you raced hard for 40 laps, you knew you wasn't gonna have nothing for that second 40. So you're gonna have half race hard and
no invert. Your 2 qualifying laps count for each twin.
Yeah,
that way you don't.
I'd do it.
That way you don't have people not racing
sandbagging
and doing the whole bullshit.
That's how it used to be everywhere. That's how it used to be everywhere.
No, yeah, no doubt.
Damn point shit.
Okay, so facilities. What did we end up on facilities?
I gave him an 8.
8. All right, Landon.
I'll do a 7.
7.
Just because.
Fair.
Just because I took a poop in the bathrooms and.
Oh yeah, well that's that's coming up. That's one of our most important categories here, and that is bathrooms and concessions. Bathrooms and concessions consist of elbow room, cleanliness, comfort on the shitter, food quality, menu items. Was there snow-capped shit mountains? Stuff like that. You know, the necessities. How was all that? We'll start with you this
No
time,
snow
Landon.
caps. Yeah, no snow caps, but I felt a little cramped in the bathroom, and then had really, really bad shit paper.
It is a
Like,
large bathroom with a very small area for stalls.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's
But
almost
the
like at
shit
one point they
paper-
had more.
Yeah.
Yeah, the urinals are super spaced out, and then you got
Yeah.
2 shitters.
Yeah. And then I tried to eat from the concession stand, and the line was so long that I couldn't get it in time. But I will say, at the autograph session, one of the food trucks out front for the fans had gator
And they
gator
were,
bites,
Yep.
and they brought them around and let us all try them.
That counts. We count that.
Yeah, not
We
bad.
count that. That
Pretty
adds to
solid.
the score.
Yeah, I feel like it has to.
Was it local grown gator or what?
They are on a waterway, ain't they? Intercoastal waterway there.
They got jets down there? God dang. I ain't never going back to that damn shithole. Holy shit.
Gat?
I ain't messing around with no wild jats, dude. Gators bite them toes off out there. Be pissing outside your porch at the Airbnb. I didn't know there's damn gators. Shoot. So bathrooms. Where'd you end up? Bathrooms and concessions, sorry. Total score, 1 to 10.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, you know, like Landon said, it's not. I mean, I would say. Well, I'm not even gonna get into that.
Did you use the toilet paper?
I did not. So that's why
what
I
are we
say,
talking
you know,
about?
like,
Real thin stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
he's
you know,
saying, like,
might
fucking one
slip into your
plier.
butthole type of
Oh.
paper, you know.
Yeah, that ain't good. Yeah.
Always get scared because it's happened before. You know, like.
I'm gonna say 7, and the reason I say that, like, so if it was just based off the bathrooms, it'd probably be a 6-ish, 5 maybe. But like, I think the food. We've talked about this on previous episodes.
Yeah.
Like, the food truck deal is cool. I appreciate the racetracks that do that, especially for these bigger events like this one. You know, I think that was a necessity, and so kudos to them for doing that. So I give them a 7 based off of that. Like Landon
Did
said,
they
I
have
thought
a food truck in the track this time?
in the infield.
Yeah.
No,
No,
in
they
the
had
infield
it
it was
this
just
time.
the
Last time.
yeah, and that's and see that's part of like what Landon's talking about. What contributed to such a long line in the infield because you didn't have just us. You had those fan pit passes that made there be more people down there.
But
so
going with a 7.
yeah.
What about you, Landon?
Yeah, and the first time I went to get concessions in the infield, they were out of food. So then I had to come back an hour later, and then I had to wait for like an hour. So then I just left the line because I couldn't
Yeah.
wait any longer because we were about to race. But
Right.
I'll give it a 7 because I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that there were so many people there that I feel like it would probably be difficult to keep up with that if they weren't prepared for 15,000 people.
Right.
And I do think they had good options, and the Gator was pretty cool. I haven't been to a racetrack that has Gator.
Very
Me
nice.
either.
Pair of 7s
Yeah.
for the boys here. All right. Final rating will be the surrounding area. So food, nightlife, hotels. Do you guys visit any tattoo shops or vape shops or anything like that? Because there's millions down there. Is the reason I say that.
Yep.
Anyways, is there any shit to do down there? What's up? 1 to 10.
Yeah,
One
I mean,
place.
yeah, I give it an 8. I mean, like, of course we talk about it, and so it's no different than last year. You know, we went to Ales. I mean, we did eat dinner at Cheddar's, which was my first time eating there, and I thought it was really good. So, you know, I wasn't disappointed on that. And then there's always good times to be had right next door at Carolina Ale House. So, quite a decent amount of the tour was in there, and me and Landon and our crowds hung out together Friday night and Saturday night. Friday night was probably a little more eventful than Saturday night, but that's kind of how it goes at every racetrack. So, based off the time, you know, the fun we had, and you know, there being something to do, hotel was nice, food was good. I'll give it an 8.
Yeah. Lando, what you got, man? 1 to 10. What'd you do down there?
Pretty much the exact same thing Brandon did. Now, I didn't sleep. I didn't stay in no damn Hilton or none of that. You know, I stayed in the old Sleep Inn. Wasn't bad. What was pretty solid. I could walk to Ales, thank God. But I did ride from there to the hotel on Friday because I don't believe I could have walked that far. But it's actually like for it not to be a lot of stuff around there. That there is one little strip where everybody stays, where all the hotels are, and there is a lot of restaurants and stuff right there.
Yeah.
And Carolina Ale House is great. I mean, the food was good and the beer was really cold.
And it's technically a beach track, so I mean, you go to
Yeah.
the beach.
Yeah.
So I would give it, since I can't do halves, I guess I'll give it an 8 as well. But if I could do halves, I would give it an 8.5. But yeah, I think it's between an 8 and an 8.5. So we'll go with an 8.
All right, so Brandon's average score was an 8, and Landon's average score was a 7.5.
That was a good weekend.
Final score, New River, 7.7, which is astronomically high numbers. That's big number. That is almost. You know what Wilkesboro got last year? 7.8. But the rating scale has changed, everyone. So don't let my tone of voice get your panties in a wad, because literally all the rating scale is different. You're gonna see some higher numbers this year. The goal of this rating scale was to not let the winner at the end of the year be a 7.8. We want the winner to be like a 9.8. You know what I mean? So we want the perfect racetrack to be found, and not necessarily have a scale or a rating based off the phone signal, because that kind of screwed a few tracks last year. So anyway, 7.7 on New River. So that's a great score. Last year there was a 7.0, and this so you know they was good last year obviously, but I think the track atmosphere ramped up the score this year with 2 solid 9s obviously. So great score, 7.7 for New River. All right, everyone. So this is the part of the show where we go into the race recap, and you know you want to hear from these boys how they did this weekend. We love them, you know. Brandon, how'd it goes this weekend? The return to New River Speedway for you.
We qualified like shit. I got to start beside my good buddy Landon. We
I wonder
Had
how
some-
many episodes of Big Time Auto Racing has started with me and Brandon both saying, "Well, we qualified like shit, started right beside each other, and then we raised
I'd
hell."
say 90% of them. Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
every episode is how it goes.
and it's starting to
Sorry.
turn into that with me and Landon.
I just had
mean,
to
it
point
really
that
is.
out. I had to point that out, but go ahead.
And so we were having some fun with each other. Gutman signed my right front and said, "Well, it ain't done nothing for us. Maybe it'll do something for you." And I was like, "Well, Gutman, don't put the bad luck on me." And but it did last until I tried to rub it off on Butterbean's left rear tire later on in the race.
Uh-oh.
But you know, we didn't really have it this weekend. You know, I'm not gonna get too long winded. Just Justin and the boys, they worked really hard. I appreciate it. We threw everything at it. We really did, and just couldn't really ever get anything going. So we started at one point of the race making some headway, and then I think just a long green flag run. We had some kind of a brake issue. They're actually kind of diagnosing that today and tomorrow. We do know for a fact that the left front fan was not working the whole race, so that obviously was part of it. But just fought handling all weekend, and but luckily didn't tear it up and brought it home 19th, and can work on it and get it ready for Orange County this weekend.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta survive. I mean, if you ain't got the speed, if you ain't got your 110% in the car store, I mean, you might as well get ready to run 20th. You know what I mean? Like that's just part of it nowadays, and you just gotta take your lumps. And you got a good track coming up for you. You got Orange County coming up, so I can imagine 20th,
Greatest racetrack on the East Coast.
19th or whatever may piss you off a little bit, but at least you got something to look forward to. Landon, different story for you though. Dominated early.
Career day.
It was unbelievable. I've never the sheer speed. I'd like to see the average lap speed from lap one to lap 50, and then lap 50 to lap 125. But anyway, yeah, how'd it go for you, buddy? I know you had a pretty cool plan.
Yeah, we had a rocket ship. You know, like fired off immediately. Knew we were going to be pretty solid. So, you know, I did like one of those. Everybody was running here,
Yeah.
and I kind of just put her up here,
Oh yeah.
and she stuck,
Mm-hmm.
and we freaking went all the way to the front.
Oh yeah. It's easy as
Took
that.
the lead. Took the lead, and then got to the halfway point and figured I'd just start saving after the halfway point.
Right.
I showed my
You don't
cards
want to burn your
early.
tires off.
No, not at all. And, you know, with this new ST2 tire, I figured I would just test the limits early, and clearly it was holding up. So I decided I was going to, you know, drag my feet a little bit there through the midway get that $500 halfway bonus, and then I just started saving tires, and then Dale Jr. crashed me. So
Yep. Derailed Bernhardt. Tough to see it. You'll have that in big time auto racing. I don't really know what else to say. But you know,
24th to 1st. Has anybody ever done that? Has anybody ever done that in 10 laps?
Rebounded though for a top 25, ended up 24th, so worked out.
25 cars. In all honesty, for those of you that have watched the race and you're wondering what the hell I was doing, I was a pile of hammered dog shit all weekend. You know, we struggled literally every practice session. I think we were almost dead last. We did make a mock run at the end of the first day, and we were like 8th on the board, and that was shocking. After that, we were terrible all the time. Qualified in the back. As soon as the race started, I knew we were going to be bad. So before the race, I had this game plan of if I could lead halfway and potentially lead the most laps, I could finish last and get 16th or 15th place money. And then or maybe it was even better than that. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to finish 15th. Yeah. So I might as well get up there, put her in the wind, you know, get some TV time. I think I might have went a little too hard.
Give him the one-liner.
Yeah, at one point the spotter said, I passed 5 cars in one corner. He said, welcome to the top 10. And I'm like, okay. And then 2 laps later, I took the lead, and he said, new leader, 37. And then the next lap, he said, that's a 17-0 with a 1790 out back.
Oh, God.
And I said, oh, Jesus Christ. Lord have mercy.
Back down the chute.
Yeah. And then she gave up, and I went straight backwards. But I was probably going to finish 18th to 22nd. I felt like I actually was running ahead of a couple of cars even after we got wrecked, and then lost it all on a restart, and then was really bad. So unfortunate, but this week we are heading to Orange County, and I'll be driving my own car this weekend. Take a break from the RS car and see if we can figure out what's going on with it, because we've been having just a tough go every single week with it. But
yeah,
not giving up on it, just taking a break and seeing if we can backtrack and figure out what the hell's going on. So I'll have my black car, PRW car, at Orange County, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. You got to run that car at Orange County a little bit earlier in the year, right?
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why it's easier just for us to go ahead and take it, because I have a baseline, and I felt like we were pretty solid. You know, that was the 15,000 to win race, and there was probably 20 car store cars, 23 total, but 20 of the top 20 were car store cars, pretty much car store caliber anyway. And we qualified 10th and ran inside the top 12 for a while, so before we had fuel pickup problems. So I'm excited. I think it'll be, you know, give me a good opportunity to go get some points and try to restore the confidence a little bit. You know, not that it wasn't a confidence builder, you know, blowing by everybody last week. But
oh yeah, I mean, anytime you get to show, you know, raw talent and lead lap 36 to 68, I mean,
I do have a funny clip. I need to send it to you. Maybe you can insert it in as a clip on here or something. But one of the guys that was helping me, he keyed up on the radio and said, "Man, you made them look stupid out there." I'm like, brother, pretty easy when they're all going half throttle and I'm wide ass open.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's nothing worse, or I don't know. There's a lot of things worse, but it's funny when you're in that situation and someone who doesn't know a lot about the sport, especially not him, but I'm saying like a fan or something.
Fan, yeah, there was a lot of fans. I mean,
I would love to hear some of the, you know, just what people have dreamed up, what you was doing or what happened to you, you know.
Oh, my wife said there was some fans up there just rallying me forward.
Hell yeah, I bet so.
Yeah.
God almighty. Yeah. Look, I told y'all it's a damn YouTube guy. You know, I could definitely see that. Brandon, what did you see from your seat? What was your thought process with landing here?
So Dale was kind of talking to us right before intros, and then he stepped away for a second, and Landon turned back to me and goes, "What's your plan?" And I was like, "Well, first I'm coming down pit road under pace laps." And
what did I tell you?
He goes, "Well, I'm fucking going to the front." And I said, all right, if I can get to you, I'll go with you. Well, he obviously proceeded to do that. And then I guess shortly there before the first competition caution, 10, 12 laps, I don't know exactly, but it's got to be right around that. Justin keyed up the radio and goes, by the way, Landon is leading this fucker, and we're going to see what these ST2s can do. And I keyed up and said, well, he told me he was going to do it, but I didn't know he was actually going to go do it, but hell yeah.
Yeah, everybody thought I was bluffing, but I mean, what the hell did I have to lose? I didn't have shit to lose. I was going to run like crap anyway. Might as well freaking go put on a show.
Were you trying to be easy on it when you were driving the shit out of it, like on the top, or? Were you
I know
feeling
one
like
corner when I watched him pass 4 cars, he wasn't. That thing was in y'all. It was.
No, okay, so there was a couple of times where I would catch a group and I'm like,
yeah,
if I'm gonna make this work, I better freaking drive this baby off in here. So like, like getting into one where everybody's half throttle on the bottom, and my shit was like on the shit. But then when I got to the middle of the corner, it was like,
oh yeah,
that's all of them. But once I got out front, like, it's crazy because everybody goes so incredibly slow. Like, honestly, I think if you have a good car, Mini Tyrell proved this. If you have a good car and your car is handling well, you don't have to drag ass like they do.
Yeah.
You just don't. Like,
Right.
you can be up there and run. You can't tell me that running 3/4 throttle versus half throttle down the straightaway is going to change how much your tires wear. Like, I just don't believe that. As long as you're not sliding the car and you're not punishing the tire, it's going to last.
As long as it's a long enough or a wide enough corner that you can not have to use brake because you use more throttle down the stretch. I mean, brake heat also is what, trying to keep some of that out of it or whatever, just to keep the front tires cool. But I guess I've definitely, like last year, through the learning process of last year, like for me, I think especially there, for one thing, the save line is different than the fast line. So, like, you're kind of running the bottom, and you'll get used to running the bottom, and then you'll start running it kind of fast, and then burn your shit off even more. I did that last year. And then, when you run the, the higher line, kind of like you were running to pass everybody, it's definitely a fine line, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think Landon brings up a good point. I mean, me and him actually talked about this after the race at Ailes. I mean, not taking anything away from Marcus and Bobby and those guys. I mean, obviously Bobby's, record speaks for itself, but I personally think Mini Tyrell was the best car there before the contact, and then he still, I mean, I went back and watched the race, he still about caught him. I think if some of those lappers are caught a little differently, I think Mini at least gets to his bumper. So, but.
So the Butterbean Mini wreck, did you guys get to watch that? Or did you see the replay or anything?
I got to see the replay. Landon was probably close enough to see, or had that. Were you were still up there when that happened, right, Landon?
No, I already got wrecked by Dale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. Because it was. Oh yeah, I guess that's right. Because that was towards like the middle of the second run.
Yeah. Also, to be clear, Dale did not wreck me. I had a couple of dwarfs on Twitter that were cussing me for saying that. I mean, Dale did force it 3 wide when he shouldn't have, but Apple Juice was on the top, and he just freaking kind of didn't give me no room and caught me in the right front. I don't think he knew we were 3 wide. And then I tried to iRace and save it. You know how in iRacing when it gets sideways and you can like let it drift through the corner and then it kind of just comes back? As soon as I got that way, I was like, I've done this before at iRacing. I'm going to try to save it.
Yeah.
And I drove it straight into Dale. Like, I know he was watching me like, this motherfucker. Straight into him. It was the longest spin. The Mini Tyrell and Butterbean situation, Mini just drove that shit down in there. Fucking ran him over. Yeah, I mean, he did. He did, but I felt like maybe Mini thought that was the time to go, and I agree. I think Mini had the best car. He ran up front the whole time.
Yeah, I personally think, and I think we've all raced with Butterbean long enough to say this. Not that it makes it any better. I mean, I agree with Landon 100%. He drove it off in there. Butterbean kind of slipped off a 2, and it looked like I'm not going to say was blocking, but he definitely kind of took a defensive line, I would say, down the backstretch as far as how he was going to enter 3. And I think that's why you see, Mini jerk it pretty hard. But I think he saw it at that point as Butterbean having clean air, like that might have been his chance. If he didn't maybe get in front of him then, maybe that was going to be Butterbean was going to flip the switch. I still think he was better than Butterbean to not have to force it. But look, we all talk about this all the time. It's easy to say that when you go back and look now, when we're all in there wearing, helmet on and in the heat of the moment, you got to make a decision, and that's the one he made.
Yeah, I
He was like that at Wake last year, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well.
I just dove her down in there, and he came down, and I turned him. So it was very similar. It's easy to do.
Yeah. I'll say this, though. It shows how good that 81 was, because anybody who has watched it, I mean, he jumped him, it slammed back down, and it didn't really slow it down much.
I mean, he's been good every week.
Yeah.
Any local talent standouts down there this weekend?
We only had one with us.
Oh, yeah?
Paul
Williamson. I see that. Finished 20th.
Yeah.
Finished 20th on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap, but I mean, first car store race, always nice to finish on the lead lap. It's easier said than done, for sure. So.
Hey, you'll appreciate this. Only old style body in the field.
Hey! Yep. Round of applause. Yeah. Round of applause for Paul Williamson for only old body. Old body bandits. Love the old body bandits. Big special shout out to all them boys. Charlie Watson, king of the old body bandits. He'll buy a brand damn new race car, or build a brand damn new race car, throw old body on it. Old body bandit king, Charlie Watson. Anyways, since we got Orange County back to back here, we're gonna just go ahead and move right into talking about that for a little bit. You guys got some expectations or info or track facts on Orange County? It's a good time for it. What are you expecting going into Orange County, Brandon? I know you're looking for a rebound, but what you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's gonna tell me kind of where I'm at this year, just because of how good I am there. I mean, and that's not just try to sound cocky. I mean, it's just like I was looking at the Car Store Digest stats today. I mean, it's my best racetrack by quite a bit, and I've just always liked it ever since I went there. I've had quite a bit of success there. Set outside pole for the 30K race, qualified on the pole for the 2018 race there.
Well, I'll just run it down for you. You got 3 top 10s out of 5 starts, 2 top 5s, and a pole with an average finish of 7.4, average start of 5.6. So I believe you're right there. You made about 10 grand in your day. 5 starts there. So, that's pretty solid number for you.
I would say, and that's, leads me in, I'm hoping to go in there, and if we have like a good night, it would be 7th. I mean, and that's saying a lot. We were all kind of talking before it started. I mean, and I had heard that earlier today. I think we won't know for sure, of course, till tomorrow. But I mean, it sounds like it's going to be north of 30 cars this weekend.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's going to be tough to do. I mean, it's not impossible to pass at Orange County. It's just a unique place. You really got to kind of set guys up because it's so momentum based. I mean,
is there a field size? Sorry, but is there a field size at limit there? Is it 28 or 32 there?
30. It'll be 30 that start.
Okay.
It'll be 28 and 2 provisionals. So
30 everywhere, but Wake, which I think is 20.
Ace is 28 or 2, isn't it?
Ace is 28. Wake is 26.
And Wilkesboro's 36, right?
Yeah, Wilkesboro's 36.
Yeah.
Every other track is 30.
Yeah. So, but just not to, really just like I said, Justin and the boys have been working hard. We've fought a little bit. Not. Nothing against Lana. We're all buddies, so I feel for him. We haven't struggled to that extent, but it ain't been far from it. Ours has been a little more of getting damaged. So
he said, "Damn."
Ours hasn't been as Landon's and them. I mean, clearly, it's like he said. They've got something going on, and
how many laps have you led this year?
Yeah. No big
0.
Deal. You can suck it.
Yeah, no big deal. He's 34 laps or whatever. That's
0.
How many halfways have you led, huh?
But I think Landon's excited too. I mean, I was texting him before the Orange Crush race because he hadn't ever raced there, and told him, I felt like he would enjoy the place. And after I talked to him after that, I know he did until they had a was a fuel pump or something.
I used bad fuel cell foam and it rotted.
Oh God.
Filter. Yep.
So
yeah,
it's a fun place, and then kind of tying it back in. I hope at least weather looks like it's going to be good, and from all the previous car store races, we haven't been there in 2 years for a tour race. But every year prior to that, when we did go, it pretty much always sold out. I mean, it always gets a big fan turnout. I think that's because of the racing that the track produces, and it always puts on a good show.
Yeah, 11 total races there at Orange County Speedway. Last one was in 2021. That was won by Josh Berry. The all-time stat leader at Orange County is, you guessed it, Deke McCaskill with 11 starts, 1 pole, 2 wins, 9 top 5s, and 10 top 10s. So he is 10 for 11 on top 10s, 9 for 11 on top 5s. I'm going to pick Deke this weekend. Just, based off of that, I'd say Deke's a solid bet. The number 2 all-time in starts at Orange County, who would you guess?
Probably Lane Riggs.
Ronald Hill, the Thrill. Oh. Ronald the Thrill Hill. 10 starts there. Pretty cool. Yeah, there's a few guys obviously in the field that is, well, honestly, not a lot of guys in the field have really raced a lot here, to say the least. I mean, they haven't been very active the last couple of years at Orange County, so you could see a lot of guys that's never been there. So it could be a good weekend for, you guys that have, you just raced here, Landon, so at least you have a little bit of experience, and Brandon obviously has a lot of experience. But speaking about that, you just raced here, Landon, obviously, and you talked about it a little bit earlier, but what you expecting going into there?
It's a cool track. I think it's fast. It's a very fast track. They have ruts in it that'll knock an 8-year-old off a Huffy.
Damn.
Like, no shit, for real. They're like,
yeah, he's not kidding.
I would tear an ACL if I jogged around the track. So it does have some character. The old place does. Honestly, I don't know if Brandon will agree with this, but I felt like it, and take the roughness of the track out and the tire wear, I guess, out of it. It races very similar to Tri-County.
Really?
And I say that because the middle groove is, in a way, the preferred groove, but it's really not. Like, if your car is really good, then you're going to be able to run lower than everybody and pass people lower. But if you're kind of like decent, you could probably go as fast as those other cars in the middle, but eventually your shit's going to give out. Or, vice versa. Like, the cars that were really good crawled the bottom in 1 and 2 and ran like a half car lower than everybody in 3 and 4.
Right.
And that's very similar to how Tri-County races, I felt like. So, in the race, I don't know what's the preferred, like, tire-saving groove. I mean, the race I ran was 200 laps, and I only made it, 100 and some before I had the issues. So I really didn't get to see out the tire-saving aspect of it. But I was riding right behind Deke. I'd started 10th. And I drove up to 8th, and then I fell back with Deke, and I just tried to match his pace the whole time. So I ran behind him the whole first 100 in like 12th and 13th. So I learned a lot, kind of just pacing him. Obviously, I knew he was going to be good at the end, and so it was a good learning experience for me, and he ended up going on and finishing second. So I felt like I was taking care of my shit then, and so I should have been able to run, 5th to 8th maybe. So yeah. I learned a lot. That was, not being able to finish the race sucked, but riding behind somebody like Deke and seeing how he paced the track, I feel like helped me a lot. So I'm looking forward to it this weekend, and I get to go back in the same car. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, no doubt. That'll be a big help. Be a little bit familiar for you. Another name, speaking of Deke, that I'm assuming is in the field would be Caden Honeycutt, who won the.
He will be back.
Orange Crush race, or is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was he won that race, and so obviously. That'll be a guy that's probably. You said he is racing a car store.
So,
yes, that's what he told me.
I didn't know if there's trucks or whatever, something like that going on. But anyways, yeah. So Orange County, obviously, been a couple years since they've been there, so it'll be exciting. Obviously, want to tune into that one. What's your prediction on start time, Brandon? You're about 30 minutes off last week. Got to redeem yourself.
I ain't even looked at the schedule.
All right. Well, you guys will have to figure that out on your own. No, I think it's probably 8:30 flow.
Keeley sent it out today, so
yeah, it's rough.
Let's see here.
You know what the lap record is?
The pros are with the lap record
is a 13:59.
Not a Cars Tour lap record.
Qualifying lap record was a 13:59 set by Deke McCaskill on April 21st, 2018.
God.
Well, that's funny because
what are y'all run?
That can't be right because that was when I qualified on the pole.
Oh, okay.
The April race of 18.
What is a lap time there?
I feel like it was a 40. I ran a 39 and I was 10th, and a 37 would have put me second, or a 34.
14:37.
I don't remember what second bracket.
That's probably right. Like, because the way it used to be when we would run Orange twice a year, because Craig Moore lives right down the road, like literally a
It
shot
says a
5
poll.
minutes.
It says a poll is a 14-2, so I don't know why. That's just
So
an
that's
error.
Yeah, so that's
Must have
what
been a
it is.
super or something.
Yeah. 14:20 was the poll in 2018.
Yeah, that's
and
when
the
you
only
said
reason I know
before.
that's because, and then we came back the first year, or 2019, for the first 30K race. And Taylor Gray beat me at a 13.96, and I ran a 13.97. We were the only 214 second bracket. And I'm going to tell you boys right now, that is absolutely getting it done. I mean,
I
that
can
was.
imagine. It doesn't stream 13 seconds. That's when I seen the lap record was 13:59. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
But
You can go watch my onboard from that race.
I mean, like Landon said it best, like, and I don't know if he felt this way, but I can tell you for myself, if you get off a 2 and you get off a 2 good, it's a big change as far as, like, elevate, how you come up the banking. But you're carrying a lot of speed getting into 3. The problem is the way the line is there. It's very like you turn off in, but you don't keep turning. You kind of just maintain. And if you get out of shape, the top's not cleaned off in 3 and 4, you're going to smack the shit out of the wall because it's just going to pull you up there right into it.
kind of like old Langley. If you get up here nice, it'll take you. And I'm not talking about the wreck. I'm talking about the practice. Whenever I tried to get out of Carson's way for a mock run, I just went high and I got up in the shit and I almost hit the fence, like going 40 miles an hour.
Back to my prediction, the pros are with us this week. We all know how Hickory went.
Yeah.
And then there's a Virginia Mini Cup race in between that.
Oh.
Like the pros and us. So I'm going to say late models are going to take the green at 9:15.
Okay, so we do have a pro race this week, so that is a difference maker, ladies and gentlemen, as far as start time. So you probably get the pro race will go green at 8:30, right?
No, the pro race is going green at 7.
Oh, early this week.
But I'm saying if they race how they raced at Hickory.
Okay, yeah. Well, you still could see a 9 o'clock start time for the late model start. Either way, 7 o'clock. Tune in to Flow. Catch the car store action from Orange County Speedway. Obviously a big event. They don't have more than 30 cars. I think they're expecting is 150 or 125 this weekend.
125.
125 laps. Never know. I mean, as far as picks go, we don't have the entry list yet because we're recording this on a Monday night. But I always try to make a pick or two. I said Deke obviously, and mentioned Caden Honeycutt. But as far as some dark horses go, I mean, it's really kind of hard to pick unless you see an entry list. But like me and Brandon talked on the phone organically yesterday, and I said I feel like Minnie Tyrell or Ryan Millington is due. I don't think you can really consider Minnie a dark horse because he's like literally leading the points anymore. But 1 win so far, so kind of. And then Ryan Millington, I think always is kind of a threat. I always feel like he's kind of due one, and he's always good at weird tracks like that. You just don't. He's good at places you don't really expect him to be. So it's another guy that kind of have to give a shout out to. I think I picked him almost every episode just because I want to be right when he does win. So it's just kind of part of it. But also, I'm not allowed to pick anybody on the show.
Bobby McCarty.
Yeah, Bobby too.
He sat on the pole at the Orange Crush race. He led the whole race until the invert, and they inverted 8 at halfway.
Yeah.
And he drove all the way back through the field and was running the leaders down at the end. And he just won last week.
Yeah, so there you go.
Happy.
Bobby's going to be pretty tough too.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, not to get too in-depth with it, but I mean, the reason that I have so much success at Orange County is a big contributor to why Bobby McCarty does, and that would be Marcus Richmond and David Triplett. I mean, those two guys taught me how to get around that place, and
yeah,
and that's
not to get too in depth with it, but Brandon Pierce. Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
No,
I'm really good here. Brandon Pierce,
that guy.
Yeah, he, Triplett was the man around there. Timothy Peters really good there. Deke. I mean, those guys back when they were all raced together put on some incredible races.
Deke used to run full time there?
Yeah, they're so back.
Championships there.
Deke and Timothy. That was back when they ran good years there. So like the late 2000s.
They probably ran the top then, or they still run the bottom.
Oh yeah, and like I don't know, Landon. Did it ever get to the top hash in 1 and 2 for the Orange Crush race?
Some cars were moving up, but still the fast cars were
down some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know at the end of the race because I was pissed off and I wasn't really
right. So like I know like for I ran Stephen Dunn's race there, which is normally towards the end of the year in 22, and that was I think we were in 200 laps. I don't know, it was either 150 or 200, and by the last 60, 70 laps, I mean, we were at the top hash. And I mean, the line will continuously move up. The pros being there will help that as well. So, it's just, but I mean, I think Landon said it best. It kind of races like Tri-County. The only difference is it's back to, that asphalt is really wore out. So, it don't take much to get off in there and bust your ass.
You can definitely wear some tires out there, that's for sure. Ought to be a good little race. We're excited to watch it. Like we said, 7 o'clock, flow racing.
The thing I love, they got this little like sweeper cart thing there, dude, and I think it's the most badass little unit.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember seeing that on broadcast back in the day. Now
that thing still runs. She's a gem.
Well, anyways, shout out to GeoCut Laser and Powder, GeoCutFabrication.com for sponsoring this podcast. Order on-demand laser cut parts online with a few clicks of the mouse. Fast lead times with no minimum orders. Again, it's all done by our good friend Adam, and it's all nice, personable. He'll work with you directly and get things done right. So give a visit to GeoCutFabrication.com. Check out what they got to offer. They got plenty of it. Got a lot of Facebook pages, Instagram, all that stuff too. Check them out, GeoCut Laser and Powder. So, I believe that's it, boys. About time for us to wind down and continue a little bit of bench racing, probably off the air to solve all the secrets, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Landon, thanks for coming on, buddy. I appreciate you. You're welcome anytime.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Anytime
Maybe I'll go lead. Maybe I'll go lead a legitimate halfway. And maybe lead the last one too. And
anytime you go dominate like that, sheer domination, and then get taken out by an Earnhardt like that, it's tough, But part of it, man. Just one of those things.
Can't wait to tell my kid that story one day whenever I decide to have one.
Oh yeah, almost.
Maybe I'll tell your kid.
Yeah, you can tell him that. He'll think you're
hey buddy.
Coolest guy ever.
This one time I got fucking leading. Earnhardt didn't wreck me.
Got me good. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Big Time Auto Racing.